Joining me today is Candice Dorsey. She is the host of the Hello CS Dorsey podcast, on which I had the absolute privilege of being a guest. So already you know you have to check it out. And we're going to be talking about what it takes, one of my favorite topics, like my everything, what it takes to confidently take the leap from 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. So, yes, you want to tune in. But before we get into the conversation, of course, I must give Candice a moment to shine and tell us more about yourself, anything you'd like us to know. And thank you so much for being here with me. Take it away.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be on here. Well, about me, I love all things business, podcasting, entrepreneurship, cat videos, Disneyland. I say that all the time in my bio. That's like my top that I love so much. And I just can't wait to just dive in and tell my story about, me being in my 9 to 5 and that for 18 years and the different hustles that I actually went through. Because like being an online business owner, entrepreneur was not my first hustle. My first literally hustle was actually me writing my book and selling jewelry. So it's been a journey these past, I want to say 18, 20 years maybe. But yes, I always had the entrepreneur spirit at heart. So I'm really excited to talk about this.
Yeah, and I love that you said that because I always felt the same way when I was at my 9 to 5. I'm not a lifer. This is not it for me. Kudos to those who are very happy in their 9 to 5, but I knew for me, that wasn't it. That wasn't it for me. So I totally can relate to you when you say that, and also trying the different things while you're there to see what sticks, throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. But share with us more about in the 18 years you took the leap, you confidently took the leap. I'm sure that confidence wasn't always there from the very beginning. So we'll get into that. But what made you, after 18 years, really feel like you're ready to take the leap from employee to entrepreneur? What was your journey like?
Yeah, so do we have like an hour? So this is
Girl, we got
do we have like an hour for this? Okay. So starting off, I always wanted to have my own business. I mean, that was even before I even started working a full-time job. Even when I was in high school, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be the next Black Selena, minus, the singing in Spanish. But I wanted to be the next Black Selena who had her own, her own clothing line and was singing on stage and different things like that. But as I got older, I noticed that dream was just not, it was not going to be it for me. So I have resorted to, okay, let me just do what everybody else is doing and just go ahead and give me a full-time job. So I got my full-time job and I thank the Lord so much for it. And after a year, I wanted to leave because I was like, I got to go. But, the Lord just told me, Candice, stay. So I stayed. It was not easy. I cried. I've been bullied on my job. I've had not so good days. I've had so many highs and so many lows. So I had more lows than highs. But I think what really got me is when I became a supervisor and, I had the department running smooth. Like I really didn't even have to be there. My team members knew what to do and everything. But when the position came up for a manager role, the first time it came up, I was like, no, because I didn't like who I was going to be over. So I was like, no. Then it came up the second time, and I noticed that, my team and another group was actually going to be under that position. I was like, okay, yes, this is me because I don't want to leave my team. So I know I was highly qualified for it. Like, I was already running the department. I knew everything. But what really broke me was when they hired someone who had no experience, who was in a different department and didn't know what they were doing. And the thing of it on these jobs is they hire these people that don't know what they're doing, but they expect you to train them. That's how it was. And it actually happened. I found out like a couple of days before my birthday in 2021. I want to say it was about 2021. What year are we in? 23. So it was 22. Okay. So it was 2022. It was the Monday before my birthday, and they said, you didn't get the position. We got a different candidate. And I was like, okay, but when they told me who the candidate was, I kind of like broke, because I was like, this person don't even know our department. They don't even
Yeah.
know
Oh.
how to run things. But it was a matter of, it's not about what you know, it's who you know.
Who?
It's who you know. So because I didn't really know the hiring manager, the VP like that, but they worked with them before, it was kind of like, you know, oh well, I'm hiring my friend. That's what I kind of like how I felt. I broke down, like it literally took me months to get over it.
Oh
Months.
wow. Yeah.
And it still hurt to this day, me talking about it, because I'm like, I knew I was qualified, and everybody's looking at me like, Candice, did you not apply for that position? And I'm like,
Right.
have other people in departments like, Candice, did you not apply for that position? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't get it. It was like, that don't make any sense. So it was that year. I was like, I sat down, and I remember to this day, I said, you know what? I prayed and I said, Lord, I said, if it be your will, I said, not mine. If it be your will, I said, May of next year, I want to leave my 9 to 5, and I want to have my own business.
Yeah.
And when the Spirit of the Lord hit me, it hit me. Those of you who out there that are believers,
Yeah. Yeah.
Pentecostal, whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Mm, mm, mm.
But and then I just went on. I just went on. I sucked it up. I held my, wanting to outburst everything. I said, I'm just going to go with the flow. But it seemed like every month, it was always something. Every time I meet with the new manager, it was always something. Every month, what is it that you want to do? You need to let me know what you want to do. Or how about this role? And I was always getting presented with roles that was like a demotion or a lateral move. And I'm like, why are you presenting these roles to me? And it just got to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And I knew it was time. I said, I got to put in my notice. And I
Yeah.
was so nice to them. I actually gave them a 1 month notice, because I've been here so long.
Right.
And,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I had everything in, cleaned up everything first. But to segue, during that time, that's why I say it's a long story. I'm trying to shorten it up.
Yeah.
But during that time, a little bit before then, I knew I wanted to leave eventually. So me and my mom, we had our little family meeting, and we said, okay, if this is something that you want to do, we got to clear up some stuff. We got to
Yeah.
clear up debt. We got to pay some things off. We got to get the mortgage down. And just before the interest rates went up, we refinanced the house, got cash out, and paid out all the debt. Mortgage payment was lower than it was before. Interest rate was lower than what it was before. So our mortgage officer was like, it totally makes sense, Candice, for you to do this. Everything just fell in line and in
Yeah.
place. So once I paid everything off, that money that I was paying out, all the car notes and everything, I took that money and I just started stashing it, just
Mm.
started putting it in, in a pot. And it grew to a point where I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this money. I was like, what am I going to do with this? I said, you know what? When the time comes, I will know what I'm going to do with my savings. And
Mhm.
then it came to where it's like, I put in my notice, and I'm like, I said, thank the Lord so much that I had that nest egg to actually, carry me on for maybe 6 months to a year now. So
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for it.
Wow. And you know what? You've made feel like it's a long story and you're trying to shorten it, but even you sharing, and there are parts when you're sharing your story, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I remember those days. Oh yeah, okay, I can relate to that. So
Yeah.
listeners, viewers will absolutely, it's resonating because there's so many of us, especially women of color, that are overlooked in that corporate
Yeah.
setting. We're not taken seriously. We pour our hearts and souls into these roles only, hey, that rhymed, only for, someone else to get the credit or the recognition that we obviously deserve. So
Right.
kudos to you for
Yes.
recognizing it, for creating a plan. So it's something, you created a plan, you knew it was coming, you created this plan. The first thing to address, yes, I love it, the financial piece, getting the debt and expenses and all of that out of the way, because once you start entrepreneurship, you become a solopreneur, and that roller coaster starts and things start to ebb and flow. By things, I mean your income, your revenue start to ebb and flow. It's nice to have that nest egg. So you didn't feel like you were to the point, because of course there have been people who just, they decided to just quit. They just could not take it anymore. So you had enough time to really plan it, and things were falling into place. God was sending you the signs and answering the prayers when just in time, because it's always in God's timing. So I love that. I love what you shared so far and being able to take the leap. So my next question, follow-up question. So you said that you'd given them a month. You gracefully gave them a month. You handed in your notice. You gave them a month. Once you handed in the resignation notice, how did you feel? What was that journey like? How was that last month and then your last day? Tell us about it.
The last month couldn't come fast enough. It could not come fast enough. It's so funny because I was so nervous. I was really, really nervous because we're talking about I left after 18 years. It's almost 20 years being at a job. And it's like, you up and leave. Well, I didn't up and leave. It was kind of like
yeah, for sure.
Wanted
Yeah,
it,
to them, yeah.
To them it was like a up and leave. But I remember I was going back with one of my peers, and she was like, oh, this place, I was like, I'm getting ready to put in my notice. She was like, you know what? I'm going to have to follow suit as well because I can't take it anymore. And I was like, Candice, just do it. I said, just rip the Band-Aid off. And I met with the manager, and I said, I just want to let you know that after 18 years, I'm resigning from my position as the supervisor of the indirect lending department. And then he looked and he was like, really? But to me, I don't know if it was a fake thing, a fake feeling from him. I don't know if he was happy about it. Like finally I'm getting rid of her, or now I can run this department like how I want to. It was just so much fakeness, like the whole time. Like, oh, there's no one that's going to be able to fill your shoes, and everything. And I'm like, people should have thought about that before they go and hire people that don't know what they're doing. You get what I'm saying? They're friends in essence. But the whole time, my team, they, especially the ones I worked with for a long time, that was crying. I was telling them individually. So when I told everyone as a group, it wouldn't come as a shock. Some of them cried and they was upset, and it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. But the thing of it is, and I want to point it out, when you think no one is support you in your decision, there's people that do, like, is rooting in your back corner, like is rooting for you. Because when I told people that I was leaving, they was like, Candice, I know whatever you do, you're gonna be successful. So I'm rooting for you. It wasn't like, oh my God, what are you going to do? Are you going to get another job? What you going to do for money? It was never nothing like that. Of course, the manager, well, he was like that. But my peers, it was never nothing like that. Like, they was like, Candice, I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Get out of this place. Like, because, everybody want to leave, but everybody's scared to do it. So I had so much support there. My mom wanted me gone like 20 years ago. She couldn't stand the job at all.
Okay. Yeah.
So she was really excited about it, and she supported me in the decision 100%. We live together. Obviously, it's just me and her. Yeah, she supported me 100%. And that's very important. You have to have whoever you're living with or your spouse on board with you. That makes things even more easy.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because that was going to be my next question. The next point I made is your transition was probably a lot easier because you did have support, especially mom support, right? When mom's on board, you can do anything. So it definitely, I'm sure, helped. But with all of that, did you ever have a moment of like, am I ready for this? Is this the right time? Should I, do I take this back? once the reality started to hit, it was a month, and then it was 3 weeks, and then 2 weeks, and a week. Where like how was your mindset? Let's talk about that piece. How was you kind of preparing yourself to walk away for good? What did you go through? Was it emotional, or were you just ready to just out the door? Like, I gave you guys a month, but I really should have given you an hour. How was it for you?
For me, it definitely, during that time period when I was actually working, it really didn't set in, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm out, I'm ready to go. It wasn't until I actually left, that's when that's where all these things start coming. Like, oh my God, what did you do? This isn't working. You shouldn't have left. Why did you leave? And it was hard. It wasn't easy. No, it wasn't easy. During the time period, the whole month while I'm trying to get things together, it was easy. But after I left, it was very hard for me mentally. It really was, because you've done it since you was a baby. I was 21. I'll be 40 next year. So that's all I knew. That was my first full-time job. And I felt like I was made for more. I'm like, I need to be there for people. I'm a people person. I thrive off of people. I thrive off of seeing their success. And, I wanted to network with people and just be there. And I didn't get that. It was a soul suck, but it took, I want to say 2 months, 3 months. It's not up until now where it subsided. Like, I don't think about it no more. And then I put my notice in. January 30th was my last day. And it's not up until now, we're in November, where I'm starting to really feel relaxed about it. It's hard. It really is. And the number one thing, I know I'm probably going to talk about this later, but the one thing that I do want to tell people is be careful who you tell, especially family members and especially friends. Like my family, they don't know that I left my job. I have not told them. The only people that know is my mom and my pastor, as far as like people who are close to me. But family members, no. They still think that I'm working at my job. Like, and other people were like, yeah, oh yeah, Patoko. I'm like, oh yeah, the interest rates there is. But I do not tell people, because the thing of it is, when you when you tell the devil, you start talking. You don't want that, because you don't want that in your ear. And I want to point that out.
Yeah. Because there's good support, and then people project their insecurities, right? So it's not even about you wanting to leave. It's about they can't do it, or they can't see themselves doing it. So now they're like, how dare you? Like, you can't do that. You need the money. You need disability. Like, actually, no, you do. But thank you. So I know you wanted to talk about head trash. Tell me what head trash is. I haven't heard it described like that. Talk to me about head trash, and then tell me about like how to diminish it so you can focus and stay the course.
Yeah. So the head trash is what the normal stuff that you hear. Why are you leaving? Don't you need that? You're not going to succeed. You're going to need that money. You may have to go back to them. You should just go ahead and apply for a different position. You shouldn't have left to begin with. Now you see, this is what I'm telling. That's the head trash. And you're going to get it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, butterflies and everything. It's going to be, no, you're going to get the head trash. It's going to happen. Just wait for it, It's going to happen. But how to diminish is to tell the least amount of people as possible, like I said before.
Okay.
Because like I said, only 2 people know, my mom and my pastor that's close to me. And then others, like in my school, like as far as like acquaintance and everything, people who support me, like you, associates, they know, those people who support me. But family members who don't understand, who don't get it, friends who, are at their 9 to 5, don't know anything else but their 9 to 5, you'll get a sense of who you should tell and who you shouldn't. So I have like this little guide that I have, and I also talk about this in my podcast and the episodes to come. is no one needs to know but the people who it's directly going to affect. So that's the people that's living in your household. So that's your spouse, your kids. If you have your parents living with you, they need to know because your income is going to directly affect the household. Those are the only people that need to know, no one else. Everybody else is business as usual, you know.
Yeah.
It may come up later on, like, oh, you know, you still working there. Then you probably say, no, I actually have my own business. By the time your business is successful, because you're telling them then, like after the success. But that's when you tell the least amount of people as possible. And I know we
Okay.
want to like spread the joy and just say, hey, I left. But people will impress their fears and their doubts in you. And then you already have the head trash, your own personal head trash. Now you got to deal with somebody else's head trash. That's like a ticking bomb waiting to explode. And then it will discourage you from what your ultimate goal is, what your passion is, what you inspired out to do. And then you start saying, well, I guess I'm going to have to get another 9 to 5. And trust me, I've been there. I even put my resume on Indeed and say, I might have to just get another 9 to 5. But deep down, so I'm like, I don't want to go back. I want to go there because
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't. You know, when I
Yeah.
want to get a raise or move up, I know in my own business, I can do it myself. All I need to do is just tweak the price of whatever I'm offering and boom, I have a raise. I can give myself a raise whenever I want to, you know? So I would say tell the least amount of people as possible.
Yeah. Especially if you know you can be easily influenced or you rely on others' approval. I know fear of judgment is something that I deal with a lot with clients is what are people going to say and how are they going to react and are they going to support me? Now they're going to this and now they're going to that. And as a reformed people pleaser, I like to call myself, I get it where you feel like others and the opinions of others and the judgment of others that matters, but you really start to learn that this is all for you. You are really taking control of your life, right?
That's
And your future and your path. This is up to you. They're not going to be there unless, they're the right people and they can support you how you need to be supported. So I love that. Perfect. And being able to diminish it, stay focused, stay the course. Yeah, I talked about it in an episode just recently. I considered quitting, but I'm like, what entrepreneur, if your goals aren't big enough and bold enough and audacious enough, hasn't considered quitting?
yeah.
It's just a part of the process. It's a part of the roller coaster. It's a part of the ride, part of the journey. Like I can just find a job right now. I don't have to do all this and get all this stress. But then you realize, no, ew, I don't want to do that. But it's just something that happens. But if you know you've made this decision, you're okay. You're ready to do this for yourself. Ebb and flow. It'll ebb and flow. Things will come. Things will go. It's beautiful. Okay. All right. Kudos to you
Yeah.
for staying strong. Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to add to that. You say the journey. The thing of it is, when you're going through something, think in your mind, this is my journey and this is my story. And I can't wait to be able to tell someone because what I'm going through right now, I told my mom, I said, you know what? This is my story. So when I do have success, I can be able to pull this story and tell others about this story. It's like your testimony. You can tell others about this story, what you're going through. So if you're going through it's hard, yes, it's going to be hard. But remember this is your testimony. This is the story that you're going to tell in the future, your future self. So think of it in that way. And I know it's very hard to think about that, but I want you to think about other stories where you came through something and you was able to tell the story today of how you came out of it. It's the same thing.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. It's a great way. Okay, so what do you have coming up? What should we be looking out for? Now you're on your story and your journey. What should we be looking out for from Candice in 2024?
So
What do you got for us?
2024. So I definitely need to plan for 2024, but I'm really excited about, tech. I'm excited about helping people build out funnels and building out customer journeys. That's like kind of like the topic seem like we're going on with.
Mhm.
But I love tech. I love helping people with sales funnels, lead generation funnels. So I'm excited in the next year coming to actually to be able to support people with that. And also, on my podcast, I have some episodes coming out about my journey and to kind of like help others as well who are stuck in their 9 to 5 and don't know how to essentially, I wouldn't say get out, but I talk about the leading up to. So a lot of people talk about the after and the side hustles, but I actually talk about the leading up to, like, who do you need to contact in HR, about your medical, your 401k, those things that people really don't talk
Okay.
about.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
actually
yeah.
talk about in my podcast, like how much you need to save, what do you need to do. This is kind of like what is happening right now to prepare you for your exit. And it's the same thing I actually went through. So those episodes are coming up as well.
Okay, okay. All right. So they need to check out your podcast for sure. The Hello
Yes.
CS Dorsey Podcast. Link will be linked in the notes. So be sure to check it out. Check out my episode as well. This is why Candice and I always have great conversations when we connect because um, you as a side hustle success coach and you're doing your thing, we can, there's alignment there, so it's beautiful. But before I let you go, do you have a nugget to share with listeners today and
Yes.
viewers?
Yes. Nobody opinion matters but God. That's it.
Amen. That's it. That's all. That's the show. But seriously, thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your story. I can't wait to see what you do. You're going to do so much, and it's going to be incredible because you're doing it on in your timing. It's your journey, and I'm loving that for you. I applaud you for sticking to it and getting diminishing the head trash and going through the motions and everything else. I appreciate you. Until we chat again, girl, because we will be chatting very soon. Have a sparkling day.
Thanks.